Hey everyone, it's Joe Lines, and I'm doing a little bit deeper dive on the StrSplit thing I demonstrated earlier this morning. I think it's my 10th version of what I've automated lately, and this week. Anyway, so I wanted to be a little more specific in exactly how to use it, how you can break out strings, in this cool thing of using the InStr in conjunction with StrSplit. So first off, so I have my text. So here's, what does that looks like, 4 lines, and let's say some cities had a comma in here before the state, right? So there's actually 2 commas. So the first comma isn't always the comma before the state, and so how would you actually parse that, right? So but what does happen is, hey, you know what? The last comma is always the one for the state, and so let me demonstrate first. I'm iterating over my string, which is this. I'm using a StrSplit to break it on any new line or line return, and then it's just going to iterate over it. And so each time we iterate over it, first it's going to be the first row, then the second row, then the third row, and fourth row, right? And then we're done. Just to feel better, I should well, no, I should put a return here, just to be a little more proper. So that's just showing you how we've isolated each row, right? That's why it doesn't go across all of the text. And then the next example, we're going to bring in using InStr to find in each row, because we're going one row at a time, where the last comma is. And so I'm going to say in string, and my haystack is going to be row, right? Because that's what I'm searching. My needle is going to be, I'm looking for a comma. Do I want it case sensitive? No, I don't want it case sensitive. Why do I feel like there we go. Okay, and starting position. Now let's start with at the beginning here. And occurrence will be the first, we'll say the first one, the first occurrence of the first comma. Now, in the first line, that's at the 7th position. So I guess Dallas is 6 letters, and right here, which we can see down here, is at the 7th column, right? In Capel, it looks like it's 1 more. So when I hit OK, this should go up to 8, right? So we're looking at the first. Well, that's super easy, right? It's the first occurrence starting from the first character. Now, the question is, how would I get the first occurrence starting with the last character? Well, that's what's beautiful about InStr, is you change the starting position to be a 0 or a negative number. 0 will make it start on the right and work backwards. If I put a -2, it would go back, start on the right, going back to characters from the last, and then moving to the left. So now, when I do this one is at 18, and that's where this one is, column 18. Right, and the next one, since there's only one, it should still be 8. So it's still 8 because we're still looking at Capel, and then Old Town Alexander, that's 21, and that's back out here again, right? So it's pretty simple and easy to find the location of it. However, we want to take that a step further. So let me look at my cheat sheet here. So then we bring in substring and use that position. So actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to save the position. Come on. What is going on? So I'm going to save the position in POS for position. And actually, let me get rid of that message box. Right. So now that position is going to be stored in the POS of whichever row it's in. And then I'm going to look at it and say, okay, substring, the string again is going to be row, and I'm putting a comma. A starting position, I'm going to start at the first, and I'm going to go to, and this is where I want to go to, that position we just found, right? So that's why I stored it as a variable. And let's throw this, oh, come on. There we go. So it's going to display everything to the left of that, because I basically said get first line 15 says get everything up to where, find out where that last comma is. And then the next row said, okay, get everything from the beginning, which is right here, to where that last position was, right? Now, it's one of those things, it's easier to read, right? But once you get used to it, there's no reason to store this as a variable. What we can do is take this and copy it. I'm going to comment that out, and I'm going to put it right here and use it inside this function, right? So that's one less variable that I have to keep track of, and it'll work just fine. Really, what I should be doing is that -1, because I don't want that last comma, right? So now it dropped off that comma after the Dallas-Fort Worth. So we should say Dallas-Fort Worth, and then just Capel, Old Town Alexandria, and Novato. And then the last one is, let's do here a tab, and then we're going to do, we're going to show the what's left of it. So we're going to start, we're going to use substring again. There we go. Substring row, comma. But this time I'm going to start at the position. I'm going to start at that position, and then because I think that's the position of the comma, and then there's the space, I'm actually going to add, let's try adding 3 plus 3. So that, hopefully, you know what, let's, instead of using a tab, because it would look more like a space, I'm going to put in, oops, a couple line returns here. Oh, and I went too far, so it should have been a +2. Or not. How did that happen? +2, +1. Why is that not adapting? That's interesting. Oh, because I didn't put no, that's right. Substring row position +3 POS. Oh, you know what? I know why. Well, you know why? Because I didn't save. I don't have POS being saved, right? So actually, let me go back to +3. Let's see what happens here. Let's try it 2. So see, that does work. The problem was I didn't have POS saved, but again, I don't need to have POS as a variable. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to put that right in here. I still want the +2. There, so now I'm getting each one, and this, as we go across them, oh, that's interesting. Oh, there's no space. Oh, that's a good thing. So this is why a regular expression would be real handy, right? Because I didn't have it consistent there, and actually I see right here it can be a problem too. So what I might want to do is just say, you know what, actually, let's take those back out. Another thing I could have done, let's do this to +1. So it's going to leave the space in with the Texas, which we don't really see, and as well with the Virginia. But what I would do, an easy way to get around that is just to then say trim and put that all inside there. Now it would still get the same thing. However, it would trim off the white space. And so if I was storing this in a variable, I wouldn't have the spaces at the beginning. Or I could have dumped it into a regular expression and dealt with it. But that's how I could have done that. The other cool thing I wanted to do in this, because it's related, is make sure we all know that substring, let's say I'm going to put this into S for string, substring, and I'm going to break it on a row. Now, normally you put, like you saw in the other ones, I'll put in a comma and I'll put in what the character is. But if you don't tell it what's delimited on, it takes each character separately. And so I'm going to now say because it actually creates an object. I think it's some sort of a quasi-object or something. But for key value in S, and I'm going to message. Oh, that's funny. It got my other macro. Message box, key value. And so, actually, you know what? Yeah, that'll put the number up above the other one. Oh, too few parameters. Substring row. That is in row 15. Substring row. Oh, I was supposed to use StrSplit, not substring. I'm an idiot. There we go. So that'll parse the string, and then this is where I'm saying I'm not using the delimiters, right? So that was my bad. So notice 1 is D, where Dallas is, and then the next one, 2 will be A, and 3 will be L, and 4 will be L, and so on. So it's actually pretty powerful. It's a lot. Python, when I used to play with it and slicing my variables, it was really easy. They had a lot of cool stuff. And in AutoHotkey, it doesn't. Some of the syntax isn't as straightforward, but it's there, right? You just have to play with it a little bit. So it's pretty powerful, probably pretty fast, especially because some of these are just the built-in simple functions. Functions are often commands. I think are a little bit faster than functions. Functions are generally speaking faster than a regular expression, depending, of course, on how many hoops you have to jump through to get your pattern. So for the most part, unless you're dealing with, a gigabyte of data, like it usually just doesn't matter. But anyway, hope that was helpful. I know I'm learning more about better ways to parse it. Parsing text can happen quite a bit, and the more you play with these things and understand where exactly what you're trying to get and the pattern you're trying to get to, in the tools that you have, it helps you work a lot faster at getting what you want. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.